I was just on the phone with her 30 minutes ago. She insisted that I take this sword.
A Category 5 hurricane.
This enrages her. Welcome to Real Estate Stories. This story starts off with an elderly lady who reached out to me about selling her home. Unfortunately, her husband had passed away at an H&R Block. Taxes, they'll get you. I go out to the house for the listing appointment, and while I'm there, she informs me she has to downsize her home. Every piece of furniture in the house has to go. While on the appointment, she asks me, Derrick, would you like my grandfather clock or futon? I say no. The only thing I'm interested in this home is a signed listing agreement. And one item in particular, she was adamant about me taking, and that was her grandson's sword. Yes, her grandson had a sword that was hanging on a wall in another room, and she insisted that I take this sword. I say, ma'am, I don't know if you're trying to get rid of a piece of incriminating evidence or not, but I'm not interested in the sword, she continued. So I said, it appears to me, if I don't take the sword, that maybe I don't get this listing, and she nodded yes. So, as any good real estate agent, I took the sword. I left the appointment with a signed listing agreement and Lancelot's sword. She says, hey, maybe you could do a video and use the sword in it. So that's exactly what I did. I did a listing video for her home and used this sword in the video. The video comes out great. We list the house. The property's on the market. For 2 days, we get an offer that comes in that's a phenomenal offer. I'm excited. I call her up. I say, listen, great news. We have an amazing offer that's just come in on the property. And as I start to tell her the details of the offer, it comes to light that the individual that submitted the offer just so happened to be her late husband's arch nemesis. This enrages her. She says, Derrick, I can't take this offer. If I took this offer, my husband would be rolling in his grave, doing barrel rolls. The more we talk, the more upset she gets, and this is building and building and building. Finally, it gets to a point, I say, listen, how about you take a couple minutes, think about it, and just call me back. I hang up the call. No more than 30 minutes later, my phone starts to ring. Look down at my phone. It's the seller's grandson. Side note, the grandson was a big fan of this British show that featured a character called Old Greg.
Who are you? I'm Old Greg.
So in my head, I think, you know what would be a fun idea? What if I answered this phone call in the voice of Old Greg? So that's what I did. I answered the phone. This Old Greg, what you doing in my waters, mother licker? I waited. Silence on the other end. So, what do? I double down and say it again. This Old Greg, what can I do for you, mother licker? At this time, I hear a voice, very quiet, very distraught, very upset. It's her grandson. He says, Derrick, my grandmother had a heart attack and died. What? What do you mean she died? I was just on the phone with her 30 minutes ago. She got so upset in the moment, she had a heart attack and passed away. The last person that she spoke to was a real estate agent. This brought a completely new meaning to the term killer deal. I dropped to the floor in complete disbelief. I said, I don't know what to say. Her grandson said, let him know the deal was too good. ABC. We hear that in sales a lot, ABC, but this time it stood for always be closing caskets. The property goes into probate. Now, if that isn't bad enough, the day it comes out of probate, we're getting smacked on the noggin by a Category 5 hurricane, which according to the news people, the cone of uncertainty was certainly passing right over the top of this house. There was minor damages to the home, but nothing major, thankfully. After the storm hit, we ended up relisting the home, and the buyer that ended up buying the home found the property from the listing video we did. Remember the video with, you guessed it, this sword. In some crazy way, that sword had something to do with that home getting sold and finding the buyer for the property. That's just how some of these stories go. This has been another episode of Real Estate Stories. Until next time.